Looking backwards, it's hard for many people today to understand why Hitler. Didn't the German people have a need for liberty? How in the world could a man convince his fellow citizens to murder and slaughter and destroy a minority within their community? How could a man hope to raise an army and take on the world? Was he simply delusional? What was wrong with the society they had? At the end of World War I, German liberals, German socialists, created the Weimar Republic, a res publica, a public thing, a government that rests on the will of the people. German liberals encouraged and promoted multi-party elections. They encouraged diversity of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. They allowed people to criticize them. That criticism took harsh tones in the hands of Adolf Hitler. German liberals promoted freedom of religion. They did not elevate Christianity one over the other. They didn't promote Catholicism. They didn't promote Protestantism. They didn't promote Jews. They allowed everyone to worship freely. It was an individual right. German liberals were tolerant. Adolf Hitler used that environment of tolerance against the Republic. He used freedom of speech, he used freedom of press, he used multi-party elections to advocate for the destruction of Jews. That message simply didn't resonate until the Great Depression. There was a small minority who listened to Adolf Hitler, nodded at him, and thought, wow, how in the world could he say that? But when the Great Depression hit in 1929, it opened up the door for his radical message of scapegoating Jews and foreigners. It was a question of sacrifice. Is it easier to sacrifice your neighbor, or is it easier for self-sacrifice? Adolf Hitler encouraged Germans to sacrifice the Jews, to sacrifice the French, to sacrifice the Poles, to sacrifice the Slavs. In other words, Adolf Hitler said, think of self. The world is a brutal world, and it's a world in which only the strong will survive. It's a world based on war, either kill or be killed. Germany in 1925 faced the Great Depression. Adolf Hitler encouraged voters to sacrifice the minority within their community in order to elevate the position of the majority. Sacrifice your neighbor. There's no need for self-sacrifice. This instituted totalitarianism. Adolf Hitler took control of the daily lives of Germans. He convinced Germans to destroy the Weimar Republic and to create a Third Reich. That Third Reich was fundamentally different than previous authoritarian systems. He was the sole mystical leader. He militarized the society. The value of the individual was their military value to the state. He seized control of the press. He eliminated freedom of speech. He eliminated freedom of the press. He handed out radios so that everyone in Germany could hear and adore his voice. Anyone that didn't hear or adore his voice and said so publicly ended up in a concentration camp. And in those concentration camps, they were either worked to death or they were shot as enemies of the state. The German people voted to sacrifice their neighbor in order to elevate national greatness. That is at the heart of fascism. Fascists promote heritage. Fascists promote spiritual advancement. Fascists promise middle-class stability. Fascists promise to protect capitalism. Adolf Hitler's movement was a fascist movement. The Jewish, socialist, communist, leftist, liberal conspiracy was going to destroy Germany, and only Adolf Hitler could protect Germany, the Aryan race, from enemies, foreign and domestic.